Yes. Hello, everybody. Adam Rucker here, and I am thrilled to be here tonight. I cannot tell you how excited I am to but also just to show off that I got some new scenery here. If you're watching on YouTube or Twitch, you'll see some creative backgrounds that I downloaded. Now, I am new to the space, so they might not stay this way. Oh, I can see on Twitch, and I think, let me check on YouTube. YouTube's a little bit behind. Let me see. Okay. You can see the Twitch chat. Well, yeah, you can see the Twitch chat on screen. Now, there's currently no one chatting on Twitch. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. I have no desire to force anyone to chat. Okay? However, that being said, I like that it now displays it. So in the event that someone wants to chat, it's up there. So tonight, I am very excited because tonight we're going to be doing something totally different. Totally, we might play some games in a little bit, but we are going to be watching together the Natalie Dawson episode of Diary of a CEO. Now, if you are familiar with my channel, you're very familiar with this boss babe right here. She is, let me see if I can pull up some stats on this one. Hold on. Is Instagram showing that I'm live? I can't tell. I don't think it is. I need to make sure Instagram is showing that I'm live. Oh, you know what? Here we go. I need to go over and actually send it to Instagram. That might help. So where are we? Okay, here we are. Now we're live. Now we are live on Instagram. So where are we? Okay, here we are. I can see it. I can see myself. So tonight, we are going to be doing something we've never done before, which is a live reaction video to one of my favorite boss babes on the internet. This is none other than Natalie Dawson. Now, if you are familiar with my work here, then you are familiar with Miss Dawson. She is one of a kind. She is a boss babe, business grifter, allegedly. I'm not making any accusations here. But she made a very prolific appearance on Diary of a CEO, and we're going to be watching that together. We're going to be analyzing it together, and we're going to be seeing if there's anything we can learn from it, because I'm open to the idea of learning something tonight. Now, whether or not we will learn anything is yet to be seen, but I'm open to the idea of it. So, without any further ado, I say let's go ahead and dive in. So, just some background on this show here. Diary of a CEO is a very, very popular podcast here on the internet. And it's my understanding that... Okay, here we are. I can see it. I'm just trying to mute my phone. It's my understanding, and in a little bit, I actually have a statement. I have... I don't know if it's exclusive, but I actually reached out to Diary of a CEO to answer a very important question that I had about this situation. So as we watch, I will, when the time is appropriate, I will bring up that statement from Diary of a CEO. We will talk about it together and go from there. So let's get started. Natalie, take it away. I'm going to make sure everyone can hear, okay?
About hard work.
Oh, hold on. I need to turn on my headphones here. Let's see.
You're not a candle. You can't burn out.
Oh, that's a classic. You're not a candle. You can't burn
To be
out.
successful, you have to be able to communicate your ideas, who you are, and your point of view. And so I use 3 steps in every communication that can be used for getting a promotion, laying people off. It could be used to persuading your significant other, where you're going to go to dinner that night. And it allowed me to go from being in a room where I couldn't have a conversation with people and crippled with anxiety and fear to co-founding 2 9-figure businesses, helping over 15,000 business owners scale their organizations, as well as helping people unpack the strategies that the top 1% of people use to gain wealth and success.
Oh my gosh, so much.
Helping over 15,000 business owners scale their organizations.
Okay, good. Y'all can hear it. Great. So already you're getting an idea of who she is. So, and you might have seen there, and if you look at this photo, now listen, I don't care if anyone has work done. I don't. I just want to, there's a couple things we're going to talk about tonight. And one of them is that she does not look like the same person
with anxiety
at all.
To co-founding
Again,
2 9-figure
totally
businesses,
fine, but
helping
she's
over
changed a lot over the
15,000
years.
business owners scale their organizations, as well as helping people unpack the strategies that the top 1% of people use to gain wealth and success that are different than 99% of people who can't create the wealth that they've always wanted. Like they prioritize being respected over being liked.
And where else do people go wrong here?
Well, ultimately, this comes down to the character of the person.
We're going to dive into that quite a bit. I love that she's bringing that up first thing. That character matters.
The person isn't somebody who wants to win, who doesn't sacrifice. You cannot get to where you want to go. Now, of course, you could try to hack success, but if you did it by putting in the effort, you don't have this anxiety that it's all going to come crashing down because you know that you could redo it, and it's never burnout inducing. That's a misconception about hard work. You're not a candle. You can't burn out.
What about passive income?
That's the most prolific thing I think anyone said on the internet in the last year. It's right behind. My friend told me when you get married, you become immediate family with your spouse. It's just right up there with it. I know. Imagine being told, Tiger Bomb. Imagine being told you're not a candle. I know, and she means that. She means that. And we'll get to who told her that once we watch that in the full episode.
Well, before you have $1 million, don't even think about passive income. Instead, use your calendar as a representation of what you find to be important.
I should trademark it
every single day.
If she hasn't trademarked it, I should, because I want to put that on a hat. You're not a candle. You can't burn out.
Someone at home isn't quite clear on their goals. What should they be doing?
I have a 3-step methodology for goal setting that I have rolled out to thousands of people, and it's called.
Okay, so when she says she's rolled out, this is just a preview. We haven't even gotten to the actual episode. But she says I have a 3-step process that I have rolled out to thousands of people. I can't say that's not true, but I will just say I downloaded her ebook, and I had a deluge of emails, and I got a phone call. I'm in the middle of Costco, and I see on my phone, it says, might be Cardone Enterprises. And I'm like, excuse me? What? And I can see in the little preview, Apple, I love that they do this now. When a spammer calls, they say, what are you calling about? And then they tell the caller, the person whose phone it is. It said, hi, this is Greg from Cardone Enterprises or whatever. I see recently you asked Natalie Dawson for her ebook or whatever. I'm just calling to see if we can follow up on that. Like, they're trying to sell me stuff when I downloaded her ebook, and I know that's the whole point of those, but still, to call me.
Yeah, it has transformed my life. So the first is,
Okay,
I see
here we
messages
go.
all the time in the comment section that some of you didn't realize you didn't subscribe. So if you could do me a favor and double check if you're a subscriber to this channel, that would be tremendously appreciated. It's the free thing.
People reach out to him to say they didn't realize they weren't subscribed. Okay. This is going to be a long video. We actually, this video is very long. This might just be part 1. I'm going to be honest. This might have to be a part 1, part 2 situation.
That anybody that watches this show frequently can do to help us here, to keep everything going in this show in the trajectory it's on. So please do double check if you subscribed, and thank you so much, because in a strange way you're part of our history and you're on this journey with us.
A strange way? Yeah. I mean, yeah. Your viewers are definitely a part of the show.
And I appreciate you for that. So yeah, thank you.
Wow, he looks really excited to talk to her.
For my viewers that have just clicked on this conversation,
She looks really excited to be there. This is the beginning of the chat? This does not look like a good hang.
what is the reason that you think it's important for them to stay and listen to what we're going to talk about today and all of the things that you've spent your career understanding?
if you are somebody who has really struggled with working hard and putting in the effort and the energy, but you don't actually have wealth to show for it, this conversation is important.
Okay, so I want to stop her right there because I support everyone. I do, okay? I want everyone to be successful. I am curious if during this chat about success, wealth and success mindset, I am curious if Natalie will disclose that the person she married, Brandon Dawson, was worth over $100 million when they got married. I'm just curious if she will allude to that in any way when she's telling us how to be wealthy and successful. We'll see. She might. It might be the first thing she says.
Because wealth should come from hard work.
Okay, so immediately no. I'm gonna immediately no. Wealth should come from hard work. You're right.
The right set of problems. And so you have to ask yourself the question, what problems do I work on every single day? And whether you're a team member in an organization, whether you're a leader in an organization, a business owner in an organization, you should be able to objectively point at my work here generated this result. And so if I'm upset with this result, meaning I haven't made the wealth, I haven't created the income that I want, it would make sense that where you're spending your time and the problems that you're solving are not tied to your actual goal of increasing your wealth.
Okay. So far, this is about 5th grade level business advice. Now, I know we're just getting started, but I do want to address Grant on Instagram. I don't need a book to tell me to marry a rich man. True. And I don't fault anyone who does marry a rich man. What I don't want to see is somebody marry a rich man and then come on Diary of a CEO and tell us we're not working hard enough to be wealthy.
And when it comes to wealth, I do think that we are in a wealth crisis across the globe. I think that there is so much confusion and misunderstanding about financial literacy and what's actually happening with who is making money, how they're making money, what they're spending their time.
What is a wealth crisis? Can anyone tell me what that means? A wealth crisis.
on. And so this conversation, I'm very much looking forward to unpacking what are the strategies that people use, the 1%, for their time, for their investments, for their skills, for their mindset, that are just different than 99% of people who can't seem to get ahead and create the wealth that they've always wanted.
Now, I want to say something here, and that I think is an important prerequisite to this conversation, which is Natalie Dawson is married to Brandon Dawson, and he is 20. I think he's 25 years older than her. Yeah, because they met, and I wish I had the clip of this. I will have the clip next time. They met when she was 12, and he was 37. And then she had a podcast. The reason I know this is because she had a podcast called He's 25 Years Older. That's what it was called. And so Brandon is business partners with Grant Cardone. Grant Cardone is a high-ranking Scientologist. So a lot of what you're going to hear tonight is very Scientology-based and very scam-based.
And so as you sit here now, what is your business? What's the scale of the business? And what does it do?
Yeah, over the last 6 years, I co-founded 2 businesses that are both 9 figures today.
Okay. I'm curious to see where she goes with this.
One is a management consulting investment firm. It's called Cardone Ventures, and we help small business owners grow and scale their...
Yeah. Okay. So this is the Grant Cardone business that she co-founded with her husband and Grant Cardone. And they are, from what I can tell, course scamming. It actually closely resembles the setup of Scientology, because Scientology, what they do is they draw you in. If you've ever walked by a Scientology center, or I don't know if they call them churches, but they try to get you to take personality quizzes. They try to get you to take these little quizzes to get you in the door, and then they sign you up for courses. So they sign you up for a financial literacy course. They sign you up for a communications course. And then slowly but surely, you've paid for it and signed up for all these courses, and then you're just a part of the church. And so what I think is interesting about 10X, the Grant Cardone Ventures kind of umbrella company, is they're set up a lot like Scientology, in my opinion, in that they have courses and they have this sort of like flashy thing to draw you in, and then you're part of the cult, allegedly, in my opinion.
Organizations. So I work with business owners on a daily basis who will be doing $3 million in annual revenue. They want to know, how do I become one of the fewer that is able to have a $5 million a year business or a $10 million a year business, because they really realize that $3 million a year doesn't actually create financial security. And that business was started in 2019. And then our second business, 10X Health, we purchased a health business back in 2023. And today is helping people all over the world. And
I'm going to look up 10X Health. I need to see something here, because I want to know what health business they purchased and then renamed. 10X, actually. Yeah, Grant. So that is the thing. And that's why I don't like setups like this, where it's also like an MLM, where they specifically target and prey upon people who... Oh, you know what I just realized? Someone told me to turn off the overhead light. Hold on. Now I look like a Twitcher. Now I look like a gamer. Okay, great. they specifically prey upon people who are vulnerable, need the money, want to help out around the house with bills, have free time. So what Grant said on Instagram is, sad bit is financial literacy and small business help would be amazing for people, but it's always people like them grifting on people. Right. And so they end up spending tens of thousands of dollars. Now, what they're telling you is that investment is worth it because you're going to make so much more. You're going to go from 3 million to 10 million. And so this $5,000 course or this $5,000 conference that you're coming to is well worth the cost. And I will say, like, I don't know, I haven't researched all of their clients. If their clients truly see the benefit of it, then by all means. But I have a feeling they're selling them this promise that they're going to 10x their business, and they never actually do. So, okay, so now I see, and I wish I could share my screen. I can't. But 10x Health System acquired Health Gains, a Florida-based company specializing in hormone replacement and regenerative medicine. I wonder who owned Health Gains. Let's see. Probably announces the acquisition of Health Gains. Co-founder is... Okay. What is Health Gains? As seen on Hulu's The Kardashians, 10x Health System offers a white glove black card status concierge approach to their services. On the first season of the hit reality show, Kendall Jenner and her family friend Hailey Bieber are seen getting 10x IV drips done. Oh my God. Okay. So this is a whole thing. Health Gains. Health Gains was founded by Mark White. I don't know who that is. I'll figure that out later. Let's keep going, Natalie.
It's a 9-figure business.
So you're on that first business. How many business owners have you worked with?
Total business owners that have come through our programs would be over 15,000.
What are the range of things you're helping them with?
Great question. So there's education, there's consulting, there's services, and then there's investing. So think of us like the McKinsey for small businesses. We reverse engineer their current market, what they're doing, what their products, services, offerings are, and we give back to them either in the form of actual services where we will do their marketing for them, we will recruit people for them, we will do their bookkeeping for them. But then we also have a massive events component of our business where we train business owners on how to hire, how to recruit themselves, so they don't need to hire us to do it. I actually prefer it when people don't hire us to do this because I think it's so important for business owners and the leaders inside those teams to actually get the competence in that skill. So if you use, of hiring or their books, if business owners don't understand how to read a P&L and the importance of a balance sheet, they're always going to abdicate that work to somebody else. And
that work. Make sure you hear. Is the AI promoter for Fiverr? I'm not sure what you're talking about.
And at some point, that is not going to work for them any longer because I don't actually know what that skill is. So I'm trusting that Steven can come into my business. Steven seems great. I know him from church. I'm just going to let Steven do that.
You don't know Stephen from the Church of Scientology. Actually, if you do, I'm going to look that up.
But I don't know that Stephen only knows how to do this to a $3 million business. And I need it to be a $10 million business. There's no education system that exists for business owners to help them identify that today.
So it was in 2019 you started this business. Mm-hmm. So if I jumped back to 2019, what is the difference, the fundamental difference in the principles of how to be successful in business that you know now that you wouldn't have known then? Like, what are the glaring principles? I often think that, like, the further you go down any path, it becomes more and more clear what the, like, fundamental rules of the game are. And at the very beginning, those are just hypotheses. So what are the fundamental things you've learned about what differentiates those 15,000 people that you've interfaced with that are business owners, and makes some of them successful and the others unsuccessful?
I ultimately think that this comes down to the character of the person that is doing the business.
Is that a groundbreaking? Well, let's let her talk.
Because if you look at people that you can partner with in business, it is incredibly challenging to make something truly successful. Even if it's the best business model in the world, you figured out marketing, you figured out operations, you can scale it. If the person is a piece of shit.
Okay, I think it is rich for her to be talking about the character of the people you work with when she founded a business with Grant Cardone. I hope y'all know who Grant Cardone is. You do. If you watch any of my reels, you know Grant Cardone. I actually just posted him this week. He's the guy who was shouting over his wife about how women already have empowerment and that they don't need empowerment because they already have it. And so what did he say? It was like, you can't talk about empowerment when you already have empowerment. So the fact that I'm on it, he was on his wife's podcast, and the premise was that they were going to be talking about women's empowerment. And he basically was like, this is a stupid, horrible idea because women, you don't need empowerment. You already have it. And the way he wanted to tell us that was that his wife needed to shut up. So this is, keep him in mind. I'm going to put him over here. Keep this guy in mind while she's talking about the character of... Oh, let me add him to Instagram as well. Keep him in mind while she's talking about the character of the people you work with.
And if the person is not somebody who is ethical and is somebody who's compliant and isn't somebody who wants to win, to me, those three things go hand in hand.
Ethical.
Because to me, it doesn't matter what the business model is. You could give me a roofing business, you could give me an HVAC business, you can give me a wellness company, a marketing agency. The principles that I thought to be true, many of them have held true over the last 6 years since 2019. Many of them are still very applicable around standard practices for accounting and how you recruit people. Certain tips and tools help with different platforms that you can use for these things, but for the most part, those things actually have.
You know what that just reminded me of? That scene from Schitt's Creek when they're watching the Allez-vous commercial, and David and Moira are trying to learn the tips and tricks, and she's like, these tips and tricks, and then she never actually says what they are. She just keeps talking about how she has tips and tricks for being successful. Exact same energy.
Changed, but what I've learned painfully over the last 6 years is everything is about the people that you do business with and the partners that you choose and the people that you allow in your inner circle. And so that is the case for your own business, but that's also the case for the businesses that we help. And I can watch the most incredible business owner come into our organization. She's wanting to win. She's excited about what the future can look like. She's going to take all of the notes and actually go home and implement those things. But if she has somebody in her life, say it's a spouse, say it's a kid, worse yet, it's an employee that she's paying to help her, like that's the irony. You pay people to help you, and yet when they're actually on your team, they do things that detract.
What? Where is she going with this? And why did she say a kid? what if they have a kid?
From your ability to achieve your goals and to reach your potential. That's where I find doesn't matter what the business model is, doesn't matter. You can give all of the books, all of the training, the full playbook to somebody. They're going to fail because either they aren't that person or they've surrounded themselves inside their business with people who will just be stops to them and continually stop their ability to grow and to reach for more, reducing that person's confidence in themselves, and their business stays stuck.
If people are the most important thing for long-term success and for business, what are you looking for in people? What makes someone an A player in your view, and how do you filter them out? Because a lot of people go off their vibes, and if I've learned anything over the last 10 years is that we're all riddled with our own biases and insecurities, so we end up aiming in a certain direction, whether that's for better or for worse. So what's your process of finding exceptional people?
I use a 3-step interview process. So the 3 steps for me is first a cultural interview. I want to understand, more so than me trying to get into the technicalities of can they do the work, are they aligned with our organization?
I would do anything to see if anyone out there has interviewed with Cardone Ventures. I'm dying to see the questions she asks to see if you fit the culture, because I have some ideas of what they might be. Lousy Basic on Instagram. Sorry, I'm European. I don't talk basic. Is that your brand or something? Because basic is in your name, so I'm just trying to figure out if that's a bit. That logic applies to influencers too. Okay.
Are they goal-oriented? The best...
Ooh! Listen to Diary of a CEO. We're going to give hot business tips like ask in an interview, are you goal-oriented?
Question that you can ask somebody inside a business before you hire them. What are their 5-year goals?
Girl, I don't know. I just applied for this job. My goal is whatever you want it to be. What am I supposed to tell you?
And actually get a real answer. I don't really care what skills and experiences you have. If you don't have goals, I'm not hiring you.
Okay. So this is a problem I have with a lot of people. Oh, I get what you're saying. You're British, and you were talking about Steven. I thought you were talking about Grant Cardone. This is a problem I have with so many business podcasts and like business leaders who do these appearances. They always, I could make a reel, and I will make a reel where I compile every business leader that has said this, because there's thousands. They say, I don't even care if you're skilled. I hire for personality and team fit or something. They always say something of that nature. I don't even care about your skills. I care about this. And it's like, yeah, that's not true. That is not true. You care about their skills because they wouldn't be in the room. They've been through, by the time they meet Natalie, I promise you, because she's either president or CEO of this company. They've already been through multiple phone call screenings. They've already probably met someone else. And they've gotten through the applicant tracking system. I don't know if any of y'all have applied for a job recently. You can't even you have to check all the boxes or they won't even see you. They won't even see your resume, let alone call you and have multiple callbacks. So I love when they always go on and they say, let me tell you my trick. We can hire for skill, or we can train for skill. We hire for personality.
You're not allowed to be inside this environment because it's demoralizing for every other person who is here to help achieve their goals, the organization's goals, and hopefully the goals of the end customer, client, patient for whatever type of business. So that first interview really being the cultural grounding point is of the utmost importance. And then I move straight into a technical interview where I want to get the person as close to the work as possible. So if you're going to be a salesperson, I want to see you make a sales call. I'm going to give you a list of 50 people to call. I want to listen to you call those people. If you
are going to sit and listen to them call 50 people in an interview? No, ma'am. Keep your job. I'm good. Oh my gosh. Pint on Twitch. You've been a fan of mine for 15 years. That is crazy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. That means a whole lot. That is crazy. 15 years. I will say, this is my 20th anniversary of being on YouTube. I started my YouTube channel in April 2006. So we are literally in a day and age where people have grown up watching me. I literally say, people will be like, on Instagram, they'll be like, my sister and I watched your Disney videos when we were 10 or whatever. And I'm like, what? But thank you. I appreciate that, Pint. That's very sweet.
In our organization, we do not do briefs. We are not the type of people that are going to say,
we don't do briefs in this organization.
All of this time to be able to think through this whole process and this whole journey, and we're going to give you 2 weeks to do this. For us, we are churning content constantly because that's the world that we live in. For the amount of ads that need to be created, presentation decks, it can't take a bunch of time. And so if the person, when I do a case study interview and I have them actually make a presentation in front of me, says that they need 2 days to think about this and they can't assemble some form.
You have them make a presentation in front of you?
Of a presentation or a graphic for an ad. They don't know how to use Adobe or Canva or whatever this platform is. I can't really hire the person.
I am stunned. Okay, so here's what I'll say. I thought I was going to watch this and have to be like, she's right. I thought I was going to watch this and have to like give her some credit and be like, look, it's not that I don't think she's smart. I will tell you this right now while I'm still watching, we'll find out, but like, I think she's a smart person. I think this is dumbing her down or at least just presenting her poorly, in my opinion. I think she's probably a very smart person. I think she's definitely smarter than Grant Cardone, probably smarter than her husband. But listen, if they don't know how to use Canva in front of me in the interview, they're going home. Yeah, I hope so. Why are they even there?
Because I know that they don't have that skill. And then the final one is a core values interview. And for me, our team's ability to demonstrate ahead of time, ahead of joining the organization, that they actually understand and are in alignment with our core values is essential.
How do you test someone's core values?
Well, I ask them to give me times where they have exemplified the core values that we have, and they present it to our leadership team. For the first 100 team members at Cardone Ventures, I listen to every single core values presentation. The person can't demonstrate and actually say, oh, I was able to generate X amount of leads.
Who works here? Who is doing all this? Now, I know there are companies that require a lot of their interviewees. I do know that. I have friends that have interviewed at big mega corporations where they have to give a presentation and whatnot. But for Grant Cardone,
convert them at Y percentage, they probably don't know what they're talking about. And they're going to have a really hard time in the environment. And I do believe that this is the business owner's responsibility. You have to own your culture and your environment. And if you don't, and just think that anybody that can come in is going to actually live by what you want to create, you're going to be very quickly mistaken, because they're going to create their own environment inside yours. And then you've lost control.
You talked about goal setting being an imperative when you're meeting people. What is your framework for goal setting? If someone at home isn't quite clear on their goals, What should they be doing?
I have a 3-step methodology for goal
She's got a
setting
lot
that
of
I've
3
rolled out
steps.
to thousands of people. And this 3-step framework has really transformed my life because it allows me
My life.
buckets for goals. And the process is called personal goals, professional goals, and financial goals. And after having over 1,000 of these conversations personally, where I've interviewed team members and business owners and team members.
They founded the business in 2020. I think. Cardone Ventures founding. Year. 2019. She says she's interviewed thousands. I guess it's possible. I guess that's possible. If she interviewed someone every single day and multiple people, that's
of business owners about their goals. What I can say is I've never found a goal that is outside of those 3 buckets. But the challenge many people run into is on New Year's Eve, they start to list out all of the lovely things that they would like to accomplish and who they want to be. And it becomes this very esoteric conversation instead of really prioritizing personally, what does success look like?
Freelac. Hey there. Good to see you. Glad to see you in the chat. You're on screen.
Professionally, what does success look like? Financially, what does success look like? And what would those targets be in 1 year from now, 3 years from now, and 5 years?
I'm telling you, if someone asked me to give a presentation on all this for a job interview, I would literally call the police. I'd call the police. You want me to give you my personal financial goals? This year, the year after, the year after? None of your business. My presentation would be 1 slide, and it would say, none of your business. Okay?
From now, because those 3 buckets become easy to think about in the short term. 1 year, for most people, super straightforward. They're like, oh, I'd like to make an additional $10,000. Maybe I'd like a promotion here. 3 years starts to get a little bit more nebulous. And after having over 1,000 of these conversations, 5 years, for most people, they have a hard time thinking with.
Yeah, because most people are normal. Natalie, most people are normal. I just want to give a quick shout out to Freelac, Jeff. I assume Brandon's there too. Good to see you. Hope y'all like the new layout. Still working on things. Sarah, I used to work in HR and I would constantly tell hiring managers not to do stupid. Yes. Yes. And I have sat in a lot of interviews myself, and heard stupid. There's so many things you can't even ask about legally. Now, I don't think Cardone Ventures really cares about that, but I don't know.
But the one constant is in 5 years from now, guess what? We're going to be 5 years older.
Oh! Dang, girl. Yes. Queen.
I am 32 years old today. In 5 years from now, for certain, I will be 37 years old.
Yes, mama. Yes. Oh. Bless. I loved that. That was really good. That was really good.
Who is Natalie at 37?
Who is she?
She's a fucking badass.
Yeah!
Control.
Get him, girl.
Natalie is able to make a lot of financial investments that I'm not in the position financially to make today because I want to be able to
because you need a
write
billion?
$1 million check to charity just because I can. I'd ideally like that check to be $10 or $50 million.
And when you say
you've got plenty of money right now, tell us how much you've given to charity right now, Natalie.
PPF, personal, professional, financial, is there any specific way that I should write this down? Is it just, do I just think about In 5 years from now, what am I personal and professional?
Yeah. Sophia said, my financial goal is to make enough money to not work here. I mean, yeah, that's what I would say. And she better respect that.
Financial goals. And then I write that down on a piece of paper, for example.
Great question. Ideally, personals at the top with a bucket for 1 year, 3 year, and 5 year. Then the next is professional, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year. Financial, 1 year, 3 year, 5 year.
This is crazy.
And
I mean, everyone's going to get, if they actually do this, which I am curious to know if they actually do this. If they actually do this, they are for sure getting 100% ChatGPT answers. I'm 100%.
Use the word badass.
Uh-huh.
What is the mindset of a badass? Like, have you always been like this?
I always wanted this, but today I am this.
My God. This is worse than I thought. And I've been on these clips for a while, and so I go to the comments to see what people are already saying about them, just to know what the overall kind of feedback is. Everyone, I went on Spotify comments, I went on YouTube comments, and I went on his personal account. Rather, his Instagram pages. All of them were like, I don't know who this girl is, but I can't make it through this episode. It's insufferable. And you guys, we are only 15 minutes in. We're only 15 minutes into an hour and 45-minute episode. We're not watching all this tonight. We're going to watch maybe about 10 more minutes. And then I'm going to have to come back for part 2. Julia, hey bestie. Hey bestie. Let's see. Let's say hi to some people. Tiger Bomb, good to see you. Reniskin, awesome. Want to hear something? My work told me to use more emojis at work. What? Why would they do that? Sarah, good to see you. Max, always good to see you.
At 20 years old, I was crippled with anxiety and fear about what others thought of me.
What changed? What happened?
Her face.
How did you acquire such an aura?
I think the aura came from targeting, getting stats that I could prove that let somebody not see me and my life choices, but actually let them see an outcome. So that first outcome was being able to recruit people. I wanted to actually have a stat that I have recruited X amount of people, therefore I know how to hire people.
What is she talking about? I think she's talking about, when they say recruiting, by the way, I get so many MLM vibes. So many. It's like all of my MLM red flags. Recruiting. I know that's a term that talent. Hello, Sharon from Scotland. Hello. I know, Sarah. Why can't she just say? And that's the thing. Like, she can absolutely be. Here's something interesting. Former friends of Natalie have reached out to me over the months, and they all say the same thing. These are people that went to school with her at one point or another. They all tell me about how she met Brandon, her husband, when she was 12, that her parents set her up with him. And they've talked about this. This is not an alleged thing. She has talked about this on her podcast, which she just recently took down because I was going to show it, but she's taken them down. She met when they were 12. Brandon was her parents' neighbor. They invited him over for some like Super Bowl party, I think. And then Brandon would go with her mom because they were friends. One of her parents is Brandon's doctor. Brandon would go with her mom to the middle school when she was picking her up and like sit in the car with her mom and wait for her. Yeah. So he and they both, on this podcast, they both say, and I will say for the record, they say that they did not start dating, obviously, until much later. From what I can tell, as I've done her life timeline, she went to college in London. I think when she was 19, she went to the London School of Economics and dropped out. And that she dropped out at that point to marry Brandon. Or to date Brandon or whatever. So when she was 19. They had known each other for 7 years at that point. So, yeah. All right, let's keep watching.
I know how to interview them. I know how to onboard them. I know how to create a successful culture because a result shows that. So whether you like me, don't like me, think that it was him, you can't take away the stat. And I became obsessed with not getting things or doing things that took me away from stats.
So you needed to acquire first-party evidence for yourself, about yourself, so that within yourself you knew who you were.
That.
You had a self-case for who you are.
That.
And even, I guess, for people to do that, because I'm sure there's so many people listening that are maybe 20-year-old Natalie in some way, maybe a bit shrouded with sort of certain insecurities and maybe aren't the most confident, maybe a bit anxious, scared about what people might think if they try. What would you say to those people from your experience?
Go all in on yourself. Go all in on that weird thing that you're interested in. If it's scrapbooking, if it's...
Interesting that the weird thing she thought of was scrapbooking. I mean, some people it gets pretty weird. Some, they look like they were born inside a Zara. That's like the funniest thing I've ever heard. She does. She looks like a Zara mannequin. And that's a compliment. I love a Zara moment.
Social media, if it's recruiting, if you like reading business books.
If you like reading business books, then what? You should be a business.
Go all in on that thing. And social media has never created a better time for people to actually create incredible things based off of their own interests and get those things out to the world.
If I were her, I would be begging for retakes on this. She said, and this is me nitpicking. I need to stop nitpicking. I misspeak all the time.
So 20-year-old, anybody who is 20 years old should say, this is what I'm interested in. It is one thing. It is not 12 things. And I'm going to go all in on myself with this thing and become completely obsessed and create my environment around becoming the best.
If you like saying the words, go all in. Yes, Sergio. That's what, I mean, listen, 10X, basically, that's their whole thing. This company is 10X. 10X your life. 10X your business. So, yeah.
Objectively, the best at this thing.
Does it matter how you look? I've heard
this is an interesting question.
you talk about this in a video you made in April, where you're talking about 7 steps to transforming yourself. And you say that you should rebrand your look. Does it matter how I look?
Oh, what's she gonna say?
I think it matters a lot to people how they look. I think people have a lot of ideas about levels of acceptance about how they look. And ultimately, you have to decide if you are comfortable with the way that you look. And I do think many people overemphasize how they look and how they come across. But
you do? It's her entire feed, y'all. It's her entire feed.
If you want to rebrand yourself and have this new identity. Let's say somebody wants to go from being a 20-year-old college student that no one really takes seriously and it's kind of dumpy and doesn't really like certain things but can't really articulate why, spend too much time on social media, and let's say that person wants to become a professional golfer. Well, all of a sudden, in order for me to become a professional golfer, the fastest way for me to be successful becoming a professional golfer is to practice golf every hour of the day and to assimilate into that environment, to look the part and to act the part. I'm a huge believer.
She's saying that people who want to play golf need to wear golf clothes. And I agree.
In the process of be to
But
have.
that's not
It is not have before you actually be that person and you do the things in order to have the stuff or have the identity or
Oh
have
my gosh.
whatever it is that you're looking to create, the being a professional golfer, the scrapbooking business, the $20 million organization. And so the first step really is becoming that. And
The first step to having a $20 million organization is becoming that.
if I really want to change what my external environment is, I need to get in those rooms and I need to start to understand what those rooms look like. And the fastest way for me to actually be able to do that, as long as it doesn't compromise my moral code, would be to start to look like, dress like, act like that thing that I want to become.
Okay. So the theory here, at first, I was kind of going with her. At first, I didn't disagree because I think, if you want to be seen pint waif rated, I don't know what that means, but thank you. Thank you. Brada rated you with a party. All right. Thank you so much. Someone came over. Okay. If you want to look professional, let's say on Instagram or anywhere else, you need to have a look to you. I don't disagree with that. This is not professional, but I have a look. I have like 10 of these shirts. If Jeff and Brandon are still watching, they understand. I have 10 of these in all different colors from Uniqlo. I love them. They're my uniform for work. Now that's what I agree with, is like have some sort of appearance that makes you feel like you're part of whatever you're trying to do. What she is saying is if you want to have a $20 million business, you need to wear those clothes that those people wear so you can get in the room with them to talk to them to then make money. That's a somewhat different approach.
How important do you think communication is in terms of like the way that you show up here and the way that you talk? Do you think that's important? And if so, what advice would you give to my audience about being an effective communicator?
He's really struggling here, and I can tell because I've seen him with other people, Brene Brown, people who are really good at this, and he's much better with people who are good at this. He's struggling.
Communicator.
Of course, communication is the most important thing. Next to being successful, actually, I would say in order to be successful, you have to be able to communicate your ideas and your thoughts and who you are and your point of view. And if you can't communicate those things, it will show in your inability to create the things that you want to have.
So what do you do when you think about your own communication style? What are some of the things that you've learned over time that are effective to make people take you seriously, to hear you and to persuade people?
I agree, Charm Wonder. It's disappointing. This is on Instagram. It's disappointing when successful people are insufferable. Healthy Glow Shop just joined. Did I miss anyone jobbing their love? You are right in the middle of it. You are right in the middle. We are jobbing the heck out of our love right now with Natalie Dawson. Welcome. Yes, if you love scrapbooking, you need to go all in.
I am incredibly present in any room that I am in. And that is a missed skill in a day and age where everyone has a cell phone where they can contact millions of people instantly. I find that leaders who want to get promoted and be in the next position They don't even think of how unaware they look in every leadership meeting because they are simply answering another email or not in that room. And my philosophy is if you're in the room and your 2 feet are there, that is where you have to be. And so you are an effective communicator if you can actually track with what's happening. If I can track what he's doing over here, and when he comes and talks to me, I'm able to have a conversation because he's physically in my space. That communication matters. It's not just the most important person in the room that matters in any room. It's how you present yourself to every individual because you are present in that environment right now. And if you can teach yourself to not numb yourself from the environment, if you can teach yourself to really observe the environment and talk to whoever it is that's in front of you, communicate with them, even if they're not talking to you. How we became partners with Grant and Elena Cardone was by sitting at an event with 35,000 people. And instead of acting like big deals and instead of acting like we were somebody, we sat there in their audience and took notes and were actively interested in what they were saying. Why? Because if somebody's up on stage and you want that person's attention, the fast...
I actually can't believe this. She's been talking for like 2 or 3 minutes straight. This is what happens when, and I'm going to talk to Stephen Bartlett here. This is what happens when you invite someone on the show based on 12-second reels. This isn't fair to her. This isn't her format.
This way to make them not want to spend time with you is to slouch in your chair and is to look down or be distracted the whole time. And then when they meet you to come maybe take a picture at the end of the event, they see you. They're going to know that you gave them no laughs, you gave them no verbal cues, you were completely uninterested, and you actually made their job harder for them despite the fact that maybe they're your role model or idol. I find people are so unaware of their physical presence in any room, in a meeting, in a schoolroom, in a presentation, in a conversation with their significant other, with their kids, that if they could just own the space that they are in and be intentional with the human being that's in front of them, it would change everything in their lives.
What about how you speak?
That's very, in my opinion, Scientology kind of speak.
How the most effective speakers that you've encountered, what it is they do tactically to make sure that people hear what they're saying and are persuaded by them. You know, and there's a spectrum, right? There'll be these business owners that you meet that are like terrible communicators and speakers. What are they doing wrong? And then the very best that you meet, what are they doing right?
The more frameworks somebody has to frame their communication, I think helps them land their point. So there's no shortages of frameworks on the planet.
Okay. There's no shortages of frameworks on the planet.
My framework is vision, commitment, execution. I use 3 steps in every communication that I'm
3 steps
really intentional about and wanting to land. And that 3-step framework can be used for getting a promotion. It could be used for laying people off. It could be used to figuring out where you're going to go to dinner that night and persuading your significant other. So the first step of the framework under VCE is vision. And it's important that vision is first, because if you can articulate to somebody the intention and the why behind whatever it is
your framework is framing. Sergio, Health Glow, y'all have 4 steps. I want to hear the 4 steps.
You're going to get much further than just going into tactics.
I've heard you talk about avoiding phrases like I think, I feel, and being more high conviction.
Groundbreaking.
With the way that you communicate with people. Mm-hmm. Explain that to me.
He legitimately sounds like this feels hostile almost. And I don't blame him. Like I probably at this point would be a little bit hostile too. I don't know. I haven't watched a ton of his work, but he does not like this. And she looks stressed right now. This is a face of stress. This is like, he's asking me to explain all these reels that I made 6 months ago that were scripted by ChatGPT.
That honestly might be outdated for me.
Mm-hmm. I bet it is. I bet it is outdated.
Because in a day and age where it's important to share your point of view, it's not a bad thing to say, I think this is the right path, especially if you aren't certain. And it shows strength and integrity that you are communicating, that you're thinking this. You don't know for sure, and you're relying on other people. Now, if it is just a filler word, if somebody says, I think we should do this, and this is the direction that I think we should take Cardone Ventures, that wouldn't be very engaging. So in that context, you absolutely should not be using these filler phrases of I think or maybe and adding.
So now we're in trouble. This is what management is thinking of us. Because we said, I think we should do this. Now that's a bad thing.
Lack of certainty. At some level, you're playing a certainty game with everybody around you, whether they are investors, clients, patients, team members, partners, vendors. And so using phrases that decrease people's certainty in your direction isn't going to help them help you. But if you actually are uncertain, it is okay to be transparent about that, and it actually builds trust.
I think it's funny I just said I think about this a lot because I find myself writing out emails and messages where I've written I think in them, and I'd say 90% of the time change it to I believe.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. He thinks becomes he believes. Okay.
Different about that framing. Whenever I write I believe, it's still appreciating that this is a belief that I have and I don't have certainty on this hypothesis.
Guys, we're thinking
there's something high conviction about the phrase.
We're thinking
I believe we're
too
going
hard
to
about
blah, 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 blah,
this.
and I believe that will
It
happen.
is
blah, blah,
not
blah.
that deep.
It feels much better than I think.
It's not that deep.
It's a bit flimsy.
We can't.
And a bit plastic bag in the wind, so.
We
But
can't
when you
be
say
serious.
it like this, it makes me connect to you because it actually feels like it's a stream of consciousness that you are thinking something.
Yeah.
Instead of in an email, you saying I believe is much more authoritative. I would caution leaders when it comes to using words like I believe or being certain about really ensuring that you are certain or you really do believe something, especially as your business grows.
This can't be real. This cannot be real. They are, and that's the thing. They don't actually believe this stuff. It's crazy if they did, but it's crazier that they don't believe it and they're still saying it. No one is sitting around going, this email, they wrote I believe instead of I think. What do we think about that? Like, no one is doing that.
If you're doing $1 million and now you have a $10 million business and all of a sudden you have a layer of leaders around you, it can become an echo chamber. And the more certain you are, or at least you seem to be, the less likely people are going to push back on you when you might actually need them to collaborate, and you weren't so certain, but you came off with such certainty. And I find that that's a balance that leaders have to find as they become more competent in their zone of genius and as they get higher up.
This would be a great Kristen Wiig character. Just for me. Like, just where she just, like, rambled for 40 minutes.
In organizations or start their own organization themselves, if they aren't really communicating what things they aren't certain of, but they're waffling on, it can cause unnecessary duress.
You talk about mastering your calendar as well, being central to transformation. Why is this so important, and what does that mean?
Yeah, tell us why.
If you want anything in life, you actually have to spend time to get that thing. Things don't just magically manifest into people's lives, despite what the internet tells you.
What is she so angry about? Things don't just manifest like the internet tells you. Girl, chill.
So, in order for me to have the relationship that I want to have, I actually have to invest time with my significant other. It's not just going to magically happen that I'm going to have an amazing marriage. If I want to have great friends, I actually have to spend time with my friends. And so your calendar is a reflection and a representation of what you find to be important and is in alignment or out of alignment with the goals that you have every single day.
This is good.
So if
I think this gets really good if it's the clip I'm thinking of.
I have zero time being spent on generating revenue inside my business, it shouldn't surprise me at the end of the year that I'm doing the same amount of revenue that I did last year. Why? I spent zero time on the one thing, aka revenue
I
generation.
had no idea until
order for it to
Natalie
grow.
said to look at my calendar.
So for me, my calendar, and I teach business owners this every single day, you have to look at it every day. You have to.
Yes. Yep. Everybody, if you don't have your notes out, please get out a pen and paper. I'm writing this one down. Paper. Calendar. Get a calendar. Look at it every day. That tip was really good. Have a calendar and look at it.
Start to align your time unless you want your life to be something that just is a story of luck. I don't know about you, but I'm not interested in having a life of luck because I think that actually leads to a significant amount of self-doubt and uncertainty. Oh, just because I'm lucky, I'm going to leave something to being out of my control just because I happen to be at the right place at the right time. Of course.
What does she think people do? I genuinely, that's the thing about these people. They genuinely believe that without someone like them, we would all just be standing on the street going, what do we do today? I don't have a calendar. When will my paycheck come? Hey, Wilma's.
There are those components. I have been at the right place at the right time throughout my career, but the way that you...
I would say so. I would say when you were at your house where you were neighbors with your future husband, you were in the right place at the right time.
Control where you spend your time gives you the most amount of at-bats to the opportunities that you want if you have...
Where she met her future, for the record, I'm not alleging anything. I'm saying her future husband was her neighbor in this particular house.
Goals and aspirations to have a different life than you currently have. And to me, still to this day, I want to have a different life in the future. And I imagined a more enriched version of my life at 40 and at 50 and at 60. And I think if people were really honest with themselves, they want a different version of their lives too. I don't think someone listens to this podcast or watches this show without wanting to be something different or to have something different, whether it's relationship or different health situation or different income, different friends. I mean, how many people would want different friends? Like,
I don't know. Typically, the friends you have are the ones you want.
badass friends to do cool shit with. Well, how do you get that? Okay, I would need to actually reverse engineer using my time and what I do every single day to get me closer to people who are doing those similar things. And so that might actually take me making sacrifices for 2 years in order to be able to be around people, to be able to give value to people who'd be interested in being my friend. And it sounds a little strategic, but it is, because you don't just get great people in your life because you happen to be at the right place at the...
This is classic moocher rich coattail rider mentality. they only think of their friends as people who can promote them, people who can get them farther in business. That's all they think about friends. And you hear this a lot. Like, all these like Instagram people will get on here and be like, yes, job your friends, Sarah. These Instagrammers will get on here and they'll be like, you know why you're not successful? You're friends with a bunch of losers. And like, I know there are people who are hanging out with people well past their sell by date on their friendship. But in general, like, these people only see, she just said, you have to, if you want to be somewhere, you have to reverse engineer how to get to know these people and meet these people. They only see friends as a transactional relationship.
The right time. You get great people by doing great things because great people want to spend time around other people who are doing great things. And the only way that you can certainly know that you are doing great things without getting lucky or happening to look a certain way so that you get invited into certain places is by managing and really creating your own time.
What about hard work in this equation? You know, people
Yeah,
talk a
what
lot about
about
work-life balance.
hard
and I think
work?
a lot of people want,
Oh, this is work-life balance. Here we
want
go.
everything. We want to, you know,
Here we
get to
go.
40, have the yacht, have the great family, have great relationships, have a great business. I mean, that's an ideal outcome for all of us. What would you say to people about the concept of working hard and how critical or unimportant that is?
Working hard is the most important thing.
Yeah.
You cannot get to where you want to go if it's truly something that is unusual or out of the ordinary without working hard. Never burnout inducing though. And
I thought you didn't believe in burnout.
I think that that's a misconception about hard work. I don't know successful people who are still in the game who are burnt out.
This is the famous clip. She doesn't know successful people who are still in the game who are burnt out. Right. They're not still in the game because they're burnt out. So that can't even be possible. You can't still be in the game and be burnt out. That's the point.
By a long day. The response isn't burnout. Their response might be, I want to go do something different for a minute, but my business partner, Grant Cardone.
Hold on. I don't think she knows what burnout means. I don't think she knows what burnout means. It doesn't mean like at the end of the day, you're just like, whew, I'm tired. I'm going to go take a bath and go to bed. Burnout is like is a stage you get to in your career, in your job. It's not being tired one night after work. But now here we go on Grant Cardone. I'm sure this is great.
I'm obsessed with, and that was one of the greatest partnerships I could have ever done in my entire life. He says, you're not a candle. You can't burn out. He
says you're not a candle. You can't burn out.
human being cannot burn out because you are not a candle. So can you feel moments of pressure, stress? Yes. I don't take any of those moments as being a bad thing. It's not a negative to feel overwhelmed because you have responsibility. People depend on you. People are relying on you to do something. Great.
That's not what burnout is. That's not burnout. You don't know what burnout is because you will never experience it because you are independently wealthy. Your livelihood does not depend on your business. You started your business being independently wealthy to the tune of tens of millions of dollars with your husband. So you will never know what burnout is. That's what I think people need to understand. If your livelihood, your family's livelihood, your house, your rent, your mortgage, your car payments, if they don't depend on you working, then your work will never be a burnout situation because you are choosing. If you're independently wealthy and you work really hard, you're choosing to just work really hard because you enjoy it. You see what I mean? They can't reach burnout. It's not a thing.
So
Go
why do
and do
people
it.
burn out then, in your view? Why do people say, do you know, I was doing this thing and I got burnt out, so I had to... What is that?
What are they? Neither of them know what they're talking about.
Thing that people do is not actually leading to where they want to go. So if I thought that it was going to require me to work out 2 hours a day in the gym and only eat chicken and rice and never have any of the things that I love, to never get a six-pack, I'm not going to do that. But if I think that by doing this work, that's going to be hard and I'm going to hate and it's going to suck, that I can actually get what I want and my life would be changed because I'd actually have a six-pack and I'd feel confident and I'd be able to buy the clothes that
these
I'd
people
want,
and
just
talking
be
about
part of a very small
six-packs.
percent.
These business people never stop talking about six-packs. It's all they can talk about. Like, it's 1996 again. All they talk about is getting a six-pack. It's crazy.
Percentage of the population that has one, then the process of me going to the gym early at 5 o'clock before my kids get up wouldn't burn me out. I would recognize that this is a step that's necessary to get to my goal. And at which point, when the goal is there, you might change your mind and you might have a different goal. But when people win, they are rarely...
She is so confidently wrong, Mushy. Or Mushkin. She is so confidently wrong.
burnt out at that moment. I've watched business owners sell their businesses for hundreds of millions of dollars.
You have.
I've
Your
watched them
husband.
get hundreds of millions of dollars in their bank account. And that feeling of celebration and joy happens to stay around for a little while until that thing kicks in, which is that individual's potential to help somebody, to
Sounds like she's saying if my goal is not realistic, why try? Yeah, she's saying some wacky stuff.
solve more problems, to be able to make a larger impact. And so that end goal does end up moving. The goalpost ends up moving. And there's actually nothing wrong with that. Despite the world wanting to tell you that there is something wrong with the fact that you're moving the goalpost, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. And you only really get burnt out if you don't see how the sacrifices that you're making are actually going to lead you to the six-pack. If you're
Oh my gosh, she's still talking about a six-pack. And she's serious. This is not a joke. This is not a joke to her. She really means business. She is saying you need to have a six-pack.
going to be overweight forever, then of course I'm just going to eat candy and chips and all the things that I love to eat. But I do think I can get a six-pack. So I'm willing to make some of these sacrifices here and there because the goal isn't going to allow me to get burnt out because I'm going to be so freaking proud of myself by the time I reach that goal.
No, I've trained for marathons. And I absolutely got burnt out training for that marathon. It's 26 miles. And I did it, but just because it was helping me reach my goal doesn't mean you can't be burnt out. If people are working so hard to provide for their family, to pay their bills, and they get burnt out, even though the working hard is helping them pay for their bills.
At which point I'm going to change it to a different goal. And it's going to be just as interesting and exciting of a game for me to play at that point in my life.
Okay. We're going to have to stop there. This is an hour and 45 minutes, and we've only gotten through 35 minutes. But I'm enjoying it. And so I am going to do a part 2 to this later this week. You will find out on Instagram. I will say, for a more premium viewing experience, make sure you're subscribed to me on Twitch at twitch.tv/ajruck and on YouTube, youtube.com/ajruck. I'm going to try to stream to both, and I will probably stream to Instagram again, but I'm telling you, it's much better layout, much more fun experience on Twitch. So please go check it out there. Thank y'all for watching tonight. This was really fun. I had a great time. So we'll be back with part 2 of Natalie Dawson on Diary of a CEO later this week. Bye, everybody.